Thank you for logging on to the PawCast for the week of Monday, March 2nd through Friday the 6th. Hello, I'm Mr. Andrews, and here's what's happening on our team this week. I'm doing our PawCast this week from outside. It snowed this morning, a little bit last night as well, and I thought if I did the PawCast outside that Sophia the mountain cat would hear me, and she would come running up wanting her bowl to be filled with food and rub all up against me, but she hasn't shown up yet. Maybe she has better sense than I do for being outside in this cold. The wind at least is not blowing as hard as it was earlier. So for this week in math, Mr. Cutterman says that you are going to be continuing finding the volume of rectangular prisms. You're going to be doing that with possibly a checkup quiz on Monday or Tuesday. And then you're going to be having homework on Monday in lesson 3, Tuesday, lesson 4, Wednesday, lesson 5. On Thursday, we're going to the ACC women's basketball tournament. And then on Friday, you'll be doing lesson 6 and that work in class. And ELA this week, we're going to be reading an opinion passage on Monday, and we'll have a discussion about that, then a checkup quiz, along with a quiz on the early explorers, a poem that we read and discussed last Thursday and Friday. Then we're going to begin later in the week a realistic fiction story called There Were Giants. It's about a girl who does some very brave things to save some people. We are going to then, this week, begin talking about our Washington, D.C. trip. We're going to be taking day by day and place by place, and we're going to talk in as detailed of a fashion as we can about the places that we're going to be seeing and things we're going to be doing. There are about 3 very big activities that we're going to be doing with events that happen in Washington, D.C. So we'll be doing that over the next 4 weeks. We have about a month until we go to Washington, D.C. Isn't that amazing? Wow. So science for this week in my homeroom, very similar, I'm sure, in Mr. Cotterman's class, but we're going to be discovering Newton's second and third laws. We'll have a quiz on mostly the vocabulary of Newton's law of inertia or his second law of motion. But then we're going to talk about things like what affects acceleration, what are balanced and unbalanced forces, and where does force come from? Those will be our topics this week. You're watching WPAW. Channel 24, serving Colorado and Paulville. Now for the weather.
Okay, I'm Austin Steelman from Cheese News, and we're doing the weather for Miami today. So we're gonna have a high pressure over here in Nebraska, which means that we're gonna get some sunny skies, and another high pressure in Atlanta, which means for more sunny skies, and also a low pressure here, which is for clouds. And that's not good. We got a cold front coming in soon to Miami, but a warm front is coming too. We have the high pressure is moving closer and closer. It will probably miss Miami. The other high pressure is heading out for the Atlantic Ocean. It's probably sunny skies in the Atlantic. Cloudiness in St. Louis, near St. Louis, because of the low pressure. The cold front is going closer and closer to Miami. The warm front, they barely miss us and hit Atlanta. Now we have a high pressure, the sunniness that is coming closer and closer, maybe to hit New York, Philadelphia out here. The low pressure, like I said, was going to hit Atlanta, and they barely miss us. The high pressure is still somewhere out here in the Atlantic Ocean, and the cold front is coming closer to hit us too. Come on. And this was Cheese News with Andrew and Austin.
Cheese. a capital? Oh, which one will we learn about this week?
Now, where in the United States will I be this week? Well, here I am with a selfie photo of the state's capital. I won't say that this state has an inferiority complex, but the first three clues, well, this state is the only one out of all 50 that doesn't have a national park. This state out of all 50 is 49th in size and 45th in population. And at its widest point, it's only 35 miles wide. But you know what? There are some very positive things about this state as well. This state has the longest twin span suspension bridge in the world. And it was the first state to ratify the United States Constitution. And sometimes, because of that, it is considered and called the first state. So, which state and what is the capital city of this state? I'd like for you to put that on your answer. And then we had a question this past week about whether folks could host the PawCast. So if you're one of those folks who would like to do part of the PawCast, whether it's the math, the ELA, the science, or maybe even have next week's where in the United States are you, not Mr. Andrews, but you, just let me know on your answer sheet. Also, Mom and Dad's signature lets me know that they watched this PawCast.
Where is Mr. Andrews? He's in the U.S. He's at a capital. Oh, which one will we learn about this week?
I wanted to talk just briefly about the women's ACC basketball tournament. Will be going on Thursday. Need to have those permission slips by Wednesday. All students will need to have a bag lunch and a bottle drink. We will not be going to the concession stands, so no money is needed. We are going to be doing some things connected with math, science, and ELA while we're there. We're going to have a good time though, but we're going to be doing some things that do connect directly with math and especially with writing. So we'll look forward to that. We're going to have a great time. Let's all have a great week together.